Welcome everybody to Worcester for the NCAA Regional. Excited to have Michigan State here kicking us off for the weekend of press festivities and hockey festivities, so welcome gentlemen. From my left to right we have Tiernan Shouty, Porter Martone, head coach Adam Nightingale, and Daniel Russell. We'll get started, Coach, if you'd like to start with just some general thoughts on the weekend, and then we'll go into player questions.
Yeah, excited to get going. I think when you look at just the NCAA tournament in college hockey, there's a lot of good teams that didn't make the tournament, and I think it's a tough tournament to make. And you look at the parity in college hockey. We're really excited about playing and earning a spot into the tournament, and looking forward to playing a really quality opponent in Connecticut. I think you look at their depth they have in their lineup, how strong they are in net, how hard they play. It's going to be a really good test, and I think that's what this year is about. Every team you play has earned their way to this, and if you want to expect to have success, you got to be at your best.
Awesome. All right, if anybody has a player for questions, Brian, I'll hand you the mic. Looks like Kevin, we'll go first with Kevin.
For Daniel and then the other two players, what makes playoff hockey the best sport of any, the best playoff of any sport?
I just think it's the intensity. Like, everything gets turned up a notch a little bit, and everything's like, every play is important, every move you make is really important, so I think that makes it really fun.
Yeah, I agree with what he said. I think, everyone's in it for one common goal, and, that's to win a championship. And, I think everyone's, really willing to, give it their all until the final buzzer. You can never quit. And you just got to do it for the person next to you and across from you in that room. And, I mean, if you do that, you should have success.
Yeah, I agree with these guys. I think for me, it's like the desperation. You can tell guys want it really bad, and they're playing through injuries, and I think that's more common than any other sport in hockey, especially as guys are playing through injuries. It always comes out after the Stanley Cup or whatever. Guys are playing through so many injuries, and it's clear how bad those guys want it. So.
How exciting is this time of year? My last question for the three players too. We'll start with Tiernan first, but how exciting is this time of year for you guys?
Yeah, it's the best. I think this is what you look forward to every single year is playoff hockey, and we've been looking forward to it all year, and we're ready to get going.
Yeah, it's simple as you can put it. It's the best time of year, It's when, kind of the stage is bright and, everything matters, For us, like, you're only promised one more game, and you got to go out there and, you got to give it your all to, have another chance to play with these teammates and go to battle with these guys. So, we got a task at hand tomorrow, and we're just going to go and give it our all.
Yeah, like, same thing that Desana said. Like, we've been training since July, so it all leads up to, like, these games coming up, so I think it's really fun.
Next question. Any more player questions?
Brian Posick. Is there, for the guys, is there one thing in your mind with your team where you believe this is why we can do it, why we can get to the ultimate goal?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just our compete level. Like, the guys every single day in practice, and like Russ said, since July, like, we've been competing off the ice and on the ice, and I think that's one thing I think we can hang our hat on is we're always competing no matter what.
I think for me, coming in here, coming to a new team, I've never really been a part of a team like this and kind of the culture that we have here. And I think that kind of sets us apart than, other programs and other teams across the nation. I think the senior class here, they kind of been through the thick and thin of it. They came in here with 90 when he got over the job and, kind of turned this program around. So I think for me coming in, I've never been a part of a team that's this close and, kind of all wanted one common goal.
I would just say, like, we've kind of proved it all season that, like, when we play our best, like, we can compete with anyone. So I think we have a great chance if we play that way.
Porter, can you just talk a little bit about UConn's goalie and their defense structure, what you've seen from them that impresses you?
Yeah, I think they got a really strong team, from top to bottom. They got a lot of depth, and they just went to the Hockey East Finals. So, they've got a strong team, and I think a big thing for us that we've kind of focused on the whole year is, we kind of just want to focus on ourselves and, what we can bring to our table to, be successful. And I think if we do that and, focus on the way that we have to play, I think we got a good chance.
Any more player questions? More questions for the student athletes? All right, you guys are good, and then we'll move into questions for Coach. Want you stuff? It's a little shaky. Okay, awesome. All right, questions for Coach Nightingale? We'll do Mark in the front here.
Mark Dillon, New England Hockey Journal. Let me preface, Coach, by saying that everything I know about the Big Ten is from to Mike.
That's scary.
You brought your team to Boston in October. All these months later, how's your team changed, improved since then?
I think we've matured, right? We had a lot of new guys, and just like any team in college, right? Early in the year, you want to try to see where you're at, right? And I thought that was a really good gauge to see where we were at, to go on the road and play a really good team in BU. And I just think overall maturing our game, and I think that's when you got young guys, learning how to manage the game a little bit better, learning how to manage moments a little bit better. But I think just overall, just the growth for us is just the maturity and play the game a little bit more mature, and it's something where I think every program's trying to chase with their team is you want to play repeatable hockey, and I think as the season's gone on, we played more repeatable hockey.
Adam, your power play is top in the NCAA since January 1st. Just what's been working on the man advantage for you guys?
Well, Mike Towns runs our power play, does a heck of a job. I think the guys have bought in. We got a lot of guys that, that could be on the power play that aren't, right? We have a lot of depth. So I think the buy-in from the guys, this is what you playing in this spot gives us the best chance as a team to have success. I think as the year has gone on, we're historically, since we've been here, we don't go to the power play a ton, and so I think if you look at our stats throughout the year, the 4 years we've been here, the second half, our power play's always gotten better. I think a lot of it is we get more reps and more game reps at it, and but we got a ton of options out there, right? So at the end of the day, Townsley's job is to put together a plan for the guys, and the guys' plan is their job is to go out there and execute, and the second half of the year we've done it at a high level.
Andy?
Andrew Mahoney, Boston Globe. What have you done to sort of keep the team sharp after losing in the semifinals? And in a situation like this where you have to travel on Tuesday, meet with us on Wednesday, obviously you want to win the conference tournament, but is it almost an advantage to have this past weekend off?
Yeah, I think the past 2 years, we won our conference tournament, didn't end the way we wanted, so, maybe this will work for us. But, I think our guys, the guys talked about, they've been here since July 1, so, we had 2 weeks there to practice, and I get it, it's the dog days of the year, but we got a group of guys that love being at the rink, and if we can't practice hard for 2 weeks getting ready for the tournament, what are we here for, right? And so I've loved how our guys have practiced. I loved how they've competed. I love the detail that they practice with, and that's all you can do, right? And make sure you're sharp. And there is no excuse for not being ready tomorrow. People can say, hey, you didn't play or whatever, and we'll never be a program that makes excuses for our guys, and we recruit guys that don't look for excuses. And so we had great practices. We took advantage of working on areas we got to keep growing in our game, and I expect our guys to be sharp tomorrow.
A question in the back, I believe.
Brandon Locke, Everything College Hockey. Coach, with the game being 24 hours away, how do you sort of treat practice in regard to whether it's just prepping for UConn and sort of what they do versus just what you guys do and sort of being prepared, and how do you sort of split that up?
Yeah, I think since we got here, right, our mindset is definitely we do our homework on our opponent, and our coaching staff's job is to leave no stone unturned, and we watch a lot, but on the flip side is making sure our guys are focused on us, and we got to go out and play our brand of hockey, and we got to go out and play our way, and I think we owe it to our guys to. They're still young players, right? And so to spend a ton of practice time on our opponent, we got to help our guys keep getting better, and we want our mindset to be that, this game's about us, but no surprises either. So we made them aware of some things, throughout the week here when we found out who we were playing. We'll watch some video tomorrow on them. Special teams is really, I think, where it's really critical, to be ready for that. But at the end of the day, we really want our mindset as a team to be, yes, we're aware of our opponent, and yes, we've done our homework, but at the end of the day, we want to try to make the game, about us.
More questions for Coach? Okay.
Jim Fuller from First Connecticut Media. Just when you watch UConn on tape, what stands out about that?
Well, I think their staff does a great job of getting them to compete, and when I watch their team, I think that their staff is focused on things that matter in the game. You watch their second and third effort, you watch how much pressure they put on teams, their depth that they have. You look at throughout their lineup. Each line brings something to the table, but they can impact the game. And their goaltender, is a guy I know really well, coached him for 2 years with the national team. He's a heck of a goalie. And but I think that's the biggest is their compete level and their ability to put you on their heels with their pressure is what separates them and is why they've earned this spot in the tournament.
Just follow up on that. What were your impressions working with him for 2 years?
Loved coaching him. Moose was a low-maintenance kid, great teammate. When you come into the national team, for the goalie, all the kids are in over their head. And then we got players over their head, and then you throw the goalies in there. It's a tough job, right? All of a sudden you're giving up a 5-on-0 out of nowhere, and you're asking the goalie to save it, right? And so he had a great attitude, a great teammate, and I'm not surprised he's having the success he's having.
Any more for Coach? All right.
Good.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.